Hello, my Bill for 1000 Nation. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully, everyone's having a great day. If not, I hope it gets better from here. I'd imagine. You got old Mike on here today, so he's going to make me laugh. Probably at a place that I probably shouldn't be laughing. Yeah, that's how it goes. All right. Like I said, we are back with another That Chapter. This one is titled The Betrayal of Molly Watson. I'm excited for today's video, so go ahead, turn them lights down low, put on something comfy, cuddle up with someone special. Let's get laughy. Let's get laughy. That's how it goes.
Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike, and in this old video, we got a guy, we got a girl, we got another girl, and then cross one of them out. It's mysterious, like the life a certain Addy led.
We got a guy, we got a girl, we got another girl, but now we cross some of them out. I don't even know what that means.
Oh, which one? Because he had two lives.
He had two lives. Oh, he won them people. Bro, I can barely deal with one life. I'm alone too. What the shit?
You know, some boyos, they once said, all you need is love. Love is all you need. Well, I'm here to tell you today that is a big fat lie. This story, it very closely resembles another story I very recently told. The one of Heather Garris and Sean Nelson. And this one is actually, it's like a mirror image of it. And it's also very just mad. So, what do you say we give it a go?
I like the slight hesitation.
Mexico is our home for the most part today. Mexico, Missouri. Missouri again aptly named. This Mexico is in northeast Missouri, about 2 hours from St. Louis, and is the humble abode of almost 12,000 people. It's a nice friendly city, a strong community, and has good amenities, while also being a quiet little place out of the way of the big smoke. It's a place with more cows than people, so you know what that means. When the inevitable uprising occurs, they're done for. It has its own little airport, pretty much.
Man, that kind of worries me. No. How do you fight a cow? Wait till they're asleep and go cow tipping. It's the only option.
Only farms. And its own little haunted house, you guys, where fake killers will spook ya with brains made of spaghetti and that kind of stuff. Well, here, listen. I'm not here today to talk to you about those fake killers, those wannabes. I'm here to talk to you about the actual bees, real killers.
Hi everybody, it's Molly, and today I am just kind of doing a general vlog. I don't really have a point to this, except I do want to update on the video game fitness challenge. I had to replace my Wii Fit meter with a new one because I lost it. I have no idea where it went. I don't know if it fell off when I went on a Pokemon Go walk or what happened, but so far today my steps.
One of them people. Get hit by a train while looking for them Pokemon, huh? Yeah, watch out for that. Gotta catch them all, gotta catch them all.
Are 5,033. I am 34. I work in education right now. I have 2 degrees in psychology, a bachelor's and a master's. I'm working on a third degree, second master's in counseling, and I am very much a huge geek. I hate being called a nerd because, as I have always heard it put, nerds know, geeks do. So I'll catch you guys later, and bye!
Meet Molly Watson, who on YouTube went by Snarky Snarkster. She was, in April 2013, 35 years old. Born on the 15th of
I like her energy though. Bye!
December 1982. She grew up in the city of Moberly, Missouri, not a great distance from our Mexico. She was raised with one brother. She also had a sister who sadly passed away as an infant. She'd gotten married in her early 20s. Marriage didn't last terribly long though. After a couple, they split up. However, she did get a son out of the deal and started dating a woman for a number of years before breaking up with her too. Molly attended Columbia College and studied psychology. She then worked as a corrections officer for 4 years in the Missouri Department of Corrections, followed by an occupation as a substitute teacher while she got her master's in educational psychology. And then, when she wasn't making her little YouTube videos or singing little songs or making costumes, she became a business entrepreneur. Shine Spark Polish, let it be known, designing nail polish collections was her deal. And it was a pretty good one. It seemed to have been taken off. It had a real growing fan base, and she would post frequently on her social media, showing her processes and cooking methods and that. So I don't know anything about nail polish, sorry. She was, by all accounts...
It's okay, man. You lost me too. I don't know about nail polish. I know my mom used to put them on like my mosquito and jigger bites and stuff whenever I was little, keep them from itching. That's all I know. And you're not supposed to eat it. Don't ask how I know.
It's the person she appears as in her videos. Sweet, caring, kind, and loving. And guess what? Molly was happy. She was happy because she was engaged to the love of her life and was getting married at the end of that month, the 29th.
This is getting too sweet. Things are about ready to get shitted on all over the place. Oh, God. Oh.
Of April 2018. Surrounded by her family and friends, she would tie the knot. She was getting married to her boyfriend of 7 years. You know, after all that, they were like, hey, let's do it. Someone she described in an
Let's give her a go.
interview with Color Sutra, the interview about her and Shine Spark, she described her fiancé as the most important person in her life, along with her brother. This was one of Molly's last posts on social media, on her Shine Spark Polish Instagram, telling everyone that she's going on vacation. She's getting married and then off to the honeymoon from the 27th of April to the 10th of May. Sadly, instead of attending her wedding, her friends and family will be attending her funeral. It was on the 27th of April, right, 2018, that a fellow was driving along Highway 151 and Route... a fellow named Glenn, right? He was looking for a shortcut to his mother's house. This was in a remote part of Monroe County, a county north of Mexico, east of Moberly, a lonely part of the county. Glenn was driving at about 9 p.m.
What? Oh, I told you. I said it was gonna get bad. Oh. Wedding instead of a funeral? I mean, a funeral instead of a CSR got me fucked up. Oh no. I mean, did she still get to wear the dress? I'm sorry.
It was dark, and he was taking a shortcut across a low water crossing. As he was driving, he noticed headlights just a little bit further on from the creek, and he saw a car. The car was a 90s, early noughties car. It was facing him. It was a maroon, dark-coloured car. And it was just there in the middle of the road. So Glenn, he got out, and this guy got out, and they approached, and Glenn wanted him to see, because this was a small dirt trail, essentially. It was like, is your car stuck? You know, stuck in the mud? The man said, interesting, no. I'll be here a while. And then he said more things to Glenn, but the exhaust on this guy's car was so loud, he couldn't hear jack shit. Glenn then backed up and drove off another way along these like small little routes and trails between the fields and the farms. Glenn thought it was real weird, and so 30 minutes later he drove back that way again, suspicious about the person and what they were doing that night. And it was then he saw another car. In front of it, lying on the ground, was Molly Watson. She was dead.
911, what's the address of your emergency?
I am at the end of Route M of 151, and there's a woman laying on the ground in front of a car. I don't know what the hell's going on here.
All right, sir, would you mind if you would get out of your vehicle and check on her?
Yes, sir, I will. The ambulance out here. But there's a lady laying in front of a car. I don't know
if I want to get out my vehicle. I mean, I get the premise. But if something, okay. I'm just saying. Shady dude at the beginning of it, sitting in his car. Now there's another car, and there's a dead lady in front of it. Would you be willing to get out your car to check on her? And I'm sorry, but if I was going to get out my car and check on her, there might be a chance of there being two dead bodies somewhere, because if someone comes at me, I don't give a shit who it is. I'm going to be on high alert and they're getting shot in the face. I'm just saying, like, I don't know how to feel about none of this right now. This is like the beginning of a scary movie. I've watched too many scary movies this month. My brain's going places it don't need to go right now. Oh God. Speaking of scary movies, watched Halloween Ends Saturday night. I was quite disappointed.
she's alive, dead, or what.
Can you check on her and give me an update? That'd be greatly appreciated.
Ma'am. Ma'am. Oh my God. I don't think she's alive, no. Her eyes are open. I swear to God, she's dead.
She had blunt force trauma injuries, and it appeared she had been beaten to death. But it was later determined she had actually been shot once in the back of the head. It was readily apparent to responding officers that they had a homicide on their hands. She was wearing like PJs, a tank top, no shoes on. It was apparent just by looking at her that Molly did not expect to be where she was. She looked like she'd just gotten up, from the couch when she was watching like TV or something that night, like she had been in a rush to go somewhere. Her phone wasn't there either, so why she was there? But it was from running the vehicle reg, the vehicle Molly's body was next to, that was her car. And it was running the reg that they discovered who Molly was. They were able to identify her right there and then. And in her car, they even found the marriage license. She was ecstatic about it. She had just gotten it 2 days before she was found on that remote road. And the marriage was to a fella named James Addy.
And let me guess, he's a big old shitbird. Ooh. So what is he saying? Like she was beaten and shot? Like, damn.
Molly had met James when she was a corrections officer in Moberly. James, he was one too.
Huh.
Molly was head over heels for James. He was a little older, 16 years older.
Put me in between them.
They stayed together for 7 years, so they were doing...
I mean, I'm sorry, he looks shifty. Hold on, let me take that back a second. Let me move my big old melon head. I'm gonna put the rose between two thorns, right in between them. He looks shifty. I mean, he looks like one of those correction officers that, incorrect. Oh, I'm on the wrong. Oh, that's already got me fucked up, y'all. Oh, God. Oh, no.
Molly was head over heels for James. He was a little older, 16 years older. But hey, I mean, they...
I mean, do you, I reckon. Was he robbing the cradle or was she robbing the orthopedic bed?
stayed together for 7 years, so they were doing A-okay, I guess. Over those years, they went to theme parks, on vacations, everything you would expect for two people who were sharing a life together. James, Jim, a lot of people called him. He was described as a decent guy, a good brother. He had served in the Marines, in Desert Storm. Then he came home, worked as a mechanic, and then as a corrections officer. Marriage, he's quite the fan. He'd been up to about 4 times. He'd been married 4 times. So it was no surprise he was getting married for a 5th. And he had 2 children, a son and a...
5th time's a charm. Yeah, I know some people think it's the 3rd, but the 5th time, it's that 5th time, yeah, it's that make it or break it time.
daughter. Molly's family heard talk about the wedding, like, non-stop. She wouldn't shut up about it, essentially, telling anybody who'd listen. Wow.
Hi everyone, it's Molly. It was bad. This dress, they had all of my measurements, and they did not make it right. I am only 4'11". I have some unusual measurements, granted, but any seamstress worth their weight should know that if you have someone with very short measurements, you need to compensate for that.
Her announcement of her marriage to James was of no surprise, but the what's inside of the family, the what's inside of this relationship, they weren't huge fans of James. They'd only met him like a handful of times, and every time they did meet this James, Jimbo, he was like very standoffish a wee bit, you know what I mean? Didn't like to divulge too much information. When they were getting their marriage license, James said his last marriage had been to a woman named Melanie, and they had been divorced for 6 months by this stage, though separated for years. In fact, a couple of weeks before the wedding, James told Molly that his ex Melanie had just died in a car accident. He'd pulled the plug, and so it was a bad timing, you know. His 4th wife dies just before he marries his 5th. But, you know, on the day Molly breathed her last, James, he was there. He was helping, you know, he was there with the wedding planner, helping bring decorations and carnations to the wedding venue, getting ready for the big day. All was going according to plan until that night when Molly was found. Tire tracks were discovered along that road too, right beside Molly in fact, of which pictures and castings were taken, perhaps would give a clue. She still had a ring on her finger, so she wasn't robbed. And her t-shirt was found nearby. Gunshot residue was on it, and so it appeared that probably the killer had thrown it out, just like Molly's phone, which was found a little bit further along the road. The police then had to break the news to James Addy, soon to be husband. 2 days before the wedding! Poor bastard, doesn't really get much worse than that. He was in for a surprise. And so are the police. As I said, James, he was a big fan of the Yale marriage. So much so that he couldn't even wait for a divorce to get married again. He was ordering ice cream when he was still eating his steak. When the police rocked up to James Addy's house in our old Mexico, they were a little bit surprised when a woman opened the door. A woman who looked, to James about, she looked about wife age. She was his wife. That's how she introduced herself anyway, as Melanie Addy. his wife of 22 years and mother of his kids. She was supposed to be dead. She didn't look it though. And the news about James' fiancée being dead.
She was supposed to be dead. She didn't look it though. What the hell? How? And he said that that was his wife and like they lived in Mexico, right? So it was probably just far enough away to where what? What? I couldn't do it for you. I couldn't. Like, no. For one, I can barely keep up with the stuff that goes on in the life I have now, let alone trying to keep a completely separate life and keep it secret. Oh my God. I couldn't do it. He's a ballsy mofo, ain't he? God bless.
Well, the news of his.
So was it him or was it the wife? Like, did the wife find out that he was married to, getting ready to marry this other lady?
His fiancée full stop. That was, well, interesting to Melanie. When James was interviewed
So no, yeah, no.
by the police, he readily admitted that he'd been having an affair, and in fact, an affair for 7 years, and he was in fact about to marry another woman, while he was still married and living with his wife of over 2 decades. This had been going on for quite some time, and to quote from the affidavit, he said, "I got myself involved in something I shouldn't have." He had 7 years, so I don't get a lack of opportunity to not do what he'd been doing. But, and as a big booty, he said he hadn't been with Molly that night. So, she's dead, Jason. As I said, when Melanie was questioned, she didn't know what they were on about. Or who the hell Molly even was. She'd never heard of her. James said, during this interview, the interview was on the 28th of April, and he said that the evening before, the 27th, when Molly was shot, he had been out driving. He had been out that night. He'd been driving to a friend's house in Cairo, but he drove out there and the friend was not there. Damn! If only there was someone to confirm, give him an alibi when he said he'd been out, and he actually had been out with a friend, and they weren't there. Sucks for him. So the police went to check James's car. And it was in the garage. Melanie said it was odd for James to keep his car in the garage. It was a maroon Mercury Sable. The tire tread matched the tire imprint found at the scene. It also matched what Glenn had seen when he encountered a stranger on the road. Melanie said that James had left the house on the 27th of April at about 7 p.m. He'd been wearing a blue jeans, a black jacket. She wasn't entirely sure what time he returned at because she was in bed. She was asleep when he did come in, so we can assume it was late enough. Plenty of time for him to maybe run into someone on the road at about 9:20 p.m. And then Molly was found dead at about 10 p.m. James's daughter, who happened to be home at the time, did notice what time he came in at. See, she was working on a bit of an school project there, and she was on a deadline, so she was staring at the clock, and she said her dad came in just after 10 p.m. When he came in, he went and did the laundry, and then had a wash. The blue jeans and black jacket, what Melanie said he was wearing that day, were never found. And he also had a secret phone he kept secret from his wife, Melanie, and with a
Hoe phone and a bro phone. Piece of shit. Oh my God. So you're going to have an affair for 7 years, get engaged. You've already been married for 20 some years. You have 2 kids. What? And then you're going, You figure being a corrections officer and working around all the inmates and listening to their stories on how they got, fucked over on what they did, he would have learned something a little bit better than what he's doing. I mean, good God.
Police got it. They checked the texts, and James had been texting Molly after she was dead. James was arrested for first-degree murder the day before he was supposed to marry Molly.
Piece of shit. Sorry. But he is.
The fact that James kept up a 7-year... I mean, it's not even an affair. It's like more than an affair. He was going to get married to this woman. She thought. It was insane. How he kept that a secret is fucking bananas. Molly had no clue Melanie was still alive. She'd been told she was dead. That her fiancé was living with his wife. Like, neither knew the other was alive or even existed, really. Fair play to him for, keeping it on the hush-hush for that long. I'll give him that. Neither even suspected.
Yeah, I mean, that's about the only thing we can actually say for him is, dude, I couldn't keep it a secret that damn long. No. How are you going to hide your 2 kids and your wife that is dead from your girlfriend for 7 years, your fiance, soon-to-be wife? This is slick-tongue mofo right there. Good God. I don't... Where did the other one think he was at? When he's on, it said he went on vacations with his... Sorry, about choked on my own spit. He said he went on vacations with his fiance, the girl that's dead. Where did the wife think he was at? Whenever he was doing stuff with his wife and kids, where did the fiance think he was at?
Something going on here. Melanie later found a photo album in the attic. A photo album of James's, of all the pictures of him and Ollie, and... Well, that'll do it.
In April of 2018, 35-year-old Molly Watson was planning the wedding of her dreams. Her beloved fiancé, James Addy. And of course, she had her dress. 3, actually. And even one of those specialty-made hangers that said, Mrs. Addy, in curly metal script. It was to be a beautiful and long-awaited celebration of their love. There was just one small problem. James Addy was already married to his wife of 22 years, Melanie Addy. On the evening of April 27, 2018, a choice was made. I am confident that the evidence is going to show you that on April 27th of 2018, James Addy made a choice between his 2 lives. And I am confident that you will return the verdicts of guilty of murder in the first degree and armed criminal action.
He's a piece of shit, bro. You can't tell by the mask or not, but he literally looks expressionless. Okay, you can tell by my face whenever anything, I get forehead wrinkles, my eyes, my cheeks red. He's just sitting there like a zombie,
For the death of Molly Watson, the life he did not choose. Thank you.
James denied murdering Molly, but it appeared that when push came to shove, rather than splitting from Molly before marrying her, he just, killed her. He told Molly that his ex-
He's a dumbass fucking coward. I'm sorry. He should have been upfront and honest with the both of them. He can have his. He's gonna be. I hope he's sharing a husband in prison.
ex-wife had just died in hopes that it might push back the wedding. Push him from having to make a deadly decision. It didn't. And so it was balls to the wall time. The evidence was the tire treads. They matched. The defense said, that's not scientific. The defense just tried to keep up the reasonable doubt angle, as they would. They didn't call any witnesses. They didn't call anything. Molly's phone was later found along the road. It showed that as she drove from her home in Moberly to where she was found in Monroe County, she had been on the phone with James the entire time. It also revealed searches she had done, looking for an obituary for Melanie Addy. Obviously, she never found one, so maybe 2 days before the wedding, she was starting to suspect something. Maybe she confronted him about it and, well... The defense's attempts to discredit the prosecution's case was, feeble. He didn't do it, lads, so, don't know what else you want me to say. Whenever the prosecution would call something, their response was, really though? Did that happen? Really? Yes, it did.
Fill in the gaps. That's what the state of Missouri is going to be asking you to do. Not connect dots, not listen carefully, but fill in the gaps for the state. Because the evidence will show that the state does not have proof beyond a reasonable doubt in this case. He participated in the wedding planning, he was still paying, he was dropping off decorations, and that's where...
What better way to cover your own ass than make it look like you still want? He was about to get caught up in some bullshit, and he took the coward's way out.
The state's case makes no sense. At the end of this case, I'm going to get back up, confident that you will find Jim not guilty. Because the state will be asking you to fill in the gaps because it does not have the evidence. It does not have the evidence.
You seem like you're grasping for straws too, my friend. Do you think he's guilty? Because you kind of look like you think he's guilty as well, bud.
Putting Jim there. It does not have the evidence that this makes any sense at all.
After 2.5 hours, the jury returned its verdict.
Do I have a foreperson?
Yes, sir.
Okay, would you hand the verdict to the marshal there? Verdict reads as follows. As to count one, we, the jury, find the defendant, James Addy, guilty of murder in the first degree as submitted in instruction number 6.
Yeah.
Verdict reads as follows.
Yeah.
As to count two, we, the jury, find the defendant, James Addy, guilty of armed criminal action as submitted in instruction number 8.
Enjoy being someone's wife in prison, bud. No. I'm sorry, it made me really happy. He's a piece of shit.
At sentencing, he said this.
Cross-examinations were either negligible or non-existent. Most statements made by the prosecution were neither questioned nor challenged. To me, my wife was perfect in every way that mattered. I would have done anything to make and keep her happy.
You need to keep her damn name out your mouth, bud. I'm sorry. I would have bitch slapped you for even saying her name. I would have.
all everything. During the entire course of the trial, he failed to represent anything that I brought forward.
That he loved Molly. He didn't kill her. His defense was worthless and someone else, obviously killed her. And that maybe there had been clues on her social media that someone else did kill her. He specifically mentioned a Facebook post Molly had made a year before her death, in July 2017, saying that someone had tried to get into her accounts. She says, "I suspect it was the unstable individual who attempted to intimidate me with their service weapon by pointing it at me and threatening me when I left the relationship." Who that was? Well, James says it's the killer, and he was sent away for life. And there you go. Another story, of a person leading two lives and then ultimately having to pick one by killing the other. Regrettably, and without it's hard to think of a good reason to kill somebody, but this definitely ain't it. Like, my God, what are you thinking? There's a million ways he could have got out of that situation, James. I don't think killing was a good one.
He should have just been a man. Be like, look, I fucked up. We're gonna have to move to one of those states where you can have more than one wives or something, because whatever. You don't just take someone's life for something that fucking stupid.
Molly seemed like such a sweet woman. It's a pity she ended up with such a bollocks. Like I said, it's the story of Shauna Nelson, but like from the opposite. Instead of a crazy mistress, you got a crazy mister, who is equally as evil. And so ends the story of Addy the Baddie.
Addy the Baddie. That was funny. Alright. That was... Ooh. I don't understand any of it. Like, for one, how good of a liar do you have to be able to lie to two women that you love, supposedly that you love, straight through their faces? Your kid, two kids, straight through their faces every day. You have to be like one soulless son of a bitch. You have to be like. Where did they think he was when he was with the other? Oh. Alright. If y'all enjoyed today's video as much as I did, please leave a thumbs up. If you're a fan of the spooky, scary, strange things that just fucked. Think about subscribing. That's what we do, Yeah. As always, be good on one another. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Man. I couldn't even attempt that. Oh, they'd be like, where the fuck was you? You're in the headlight. Look, that'd be me. Yeah, I can't lie for shit. I'm not, no. I'm not built that way. But where you been for the past week?